give them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career.
Crawford took the weight, the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that,
let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. You know, Roy Jones Jr. Put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him.
Roy Jones Jr. believes Canelo Alvarez cannot survive against Terence Crawford, pointing to the loss of energy and sharpness Canelo once had. He voiced disappointment at Canelo's current form, questioning why he looks diminished at this stage of his career. In contrast, Jones praised Crawford's focus, determination, and elite skill set. He stressed that weight won't be the deciding factor because Crawford's timing, technique, and ring IQ can neutralize any size advantage. For Jones, a fighter as skilled and relentless as Crawford will expose Canelo's limitations, making this matchup far more dangerous than many expect.
All be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch. And what I'm seeing is I see a hungry Crawford, a Crawford that has been looking for the opportunity for a long time, finally getting the opportunity, and really ready to grab the opportunity. And with Canelo, I see a guy who not necessarily hungry, but loves to entertain, loves to give us the big fights. Always tries to give the big fights. He finds a way to give us big fights. Not gonna always win them, but he always tries to give them to us. So he'll be a guy that, if he shows up and does the exact right thing, he can win the fight. If he don't do the right thing, which I don't see him doing, I don't know why he would at this point in his career. I don't know. It'll all be predicated upon how well Terence can take his punch.
You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
Jones further warned that if Canelo enters the ring overconfident, assuming victory is certain, he risks a brutal reality check. He emphasized that underestimating Crawford's skill and strategy could lead to a tough and punishing defeat.
It's a hard one to call, and I'm going to tell you why it's a hard one to call. It's a hard one to call because it'll all be predicated upon how Canelo approaches the fight. If Canelo approaches the fight like he's the man and he can box and outbox Terence Crawford, he'll get beat. If he comes out and shows that he really wants to go out and prove whether he's still the best, he might win. So it all depends on which Canelo come to the dance.
Olympic boxer Omari Jones has confidently predicted Crawford's victory over Canelo. He explained that Crawford's weight gain hasn't been reckless but carefully planned and executed. Instead of sacrificing speed, Crawford has used proper diet, conditioning, and discipline to maintain his agility while adapting to the higher weight class. This methodical preparation, Jones believes, makes the matchup a win-win situation for Crawford.
And like me personally meeting Crawford several times, it's like the man is just so competitive. It's like I don't even have to say nothing to him. He'll just like, man, when we sparring, it's like his competitiveness is always gonna put him over the edge, and then he just has that like, I'm not gonna let you bully me, or his skill set. And it, I know they talk about Charlo when Charlo moved up, but I feel like it may be a little bit different for Canelo this time around because Crawford took the weight, the moving up in weight classes serious. He did the dieting, he did the training. So I feel like when you put in work like that, it's a win-win.
So you don't think Crawford, gaining that weight, because I saw him, he's pretty big. You don't think that's going to be a disadvantage for him in this fight?
No, it looked like he put it on the right way.
Even though facing a bigger opponent brings physical challenges, Jones argued that Crawford's discipline, skills, and commitment will allow him to adapt. He pointed out that Crawford isn't just bulking up for size, but training his body to carry weight effectively without losing the sharpness that makes him dangerous. For Jones, this fight is proof of a disciplined athlete pushing to new limits and proving his ability against one of boxing's most formidable champions.
The way, the nutrition, the you know, like I said, the training. You know, Crawford, he trains hard, so I feel like, I know they say he probably went up to like 185, so he has to lose that weight. But I think if he did it the right way, which I know he did, he'll be successful in September.
And I know, like we discussed earlier, you know, we talked with your pro debut, and now you're 3-0. Your last fight, July 19th against Blanco, and it was actually your third win by knockout.
Yes.
Super proud of you. How are you feeling about your pro career so far?
I'm feeling great about my pro career. I definitely feel like it's off to a great start. My pro debut in my hometown, and then I was my second fight, Atlantic City, on the Boots card, and then my third fight on the Ben Rodriguez undercard. So Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, they're putting me on these cards, shining light on me, giving me the TV time.
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi has also noticed Crawford's transformation, especially his physical size for this fight. Malignaggi sees this as an advantage, not a liability. In his view, Crawford has added mass without losing the quickness, timing, or footwork that define his style. He contrasted this with many fighters who slow down and lose sharpness when moving up in weight.
Listen, let's call a spade, right? When you get bigger, you do slow down a little bit, but that doesn't mean he's going to be ineffective at that weight. I think it's a bona fide good point to make. Sometimes it does wind up that way, but I'll give you Roy Jones Jr. You know, Roy Jones Jr. You know, put on weight, was muscular as he moved up the weight classes, and it didn't affect him. Good old Manny Pacquiao did the same thing, you know. So you know, there's times where it affects, and there's times where, you know, I guess if you put it on the right way. Only Crawford knows it because the way he's training, right? Because you're going to be sparring with this added weight. You're going to be doing the boxing training with this added weight. So you're going to know how to, you know, maybe taper it down if you need to, or keep it going if you need to. You know, I think over the course of camp, if you start to feel too yoked up and, you know, you get big, and then, you know, you're sacrificing reflexes, you're sacrificing athleticism, I think you're going to feel.
Crawford, however, seems to have struck the right balance. He's gained the strength and durability to face a naturally bigger fighter like Canelo while keeping the agility needed to execute his style. Malignaggi credited Crawford's professionalism and training discipline, noting the added power could even help him against Canelo's pressure.
Heavyweight kind of weight. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, Roy Jones is Roy Jones, but also Terence Crawford is Terence Crawford. But John Ruiz is not Canelo Alvarez. So that's another aspect of that comparison. And yes, you know, exactly what the champ said, exactly what Abel Sanchez said, you know, you're going to put on weight, you're going to be a different fighter. And I can say this even as a fighter as myself, as I've gotten heavier in my retirement, I try and move around the gym, it just feels different. And even when you start camp, you feel different in the beginning than you do at the end. But listen, we're still 4 or 5 weeks away. I don't know exactly what Terence is weighing right now. And even if he does say what he weighs, man, he's gone out there and said he's weighed, you know, all types of crazy numbers just to get media to respond. So it's really not really going to know until the fight and we see these guys next to each other. He might look bigger right now, but he might not beat.
Boxing analyst Max Kellerman offered a technical breakdown, highlighting Crawford's jab as one of the most precise and effective weapons in the sport today. It is fast, accurate, and capable of controlling the rhythm of a fight. While Canelo once had a sharp jab earlier in his career, Kellerman noted it has faded in recent years. This, he believes, gives Crawford a major edge in range control and point scoring. He also praised Crawford's tactical intelligence, describing him as a fighter who adjusts in real time and exploits openings others miss.
Attribute. First attribute, best jab.
Crawford.
Best defense.
Crawford. Nowadays, Crawford. I would say early in the fight, Canelo. And earlier in his career, Canelo. But he hasn't been that kind of fighter in recent years. Although Crawford is also hittable. With any fighter, when you talk about their defense, the question is not, can they be hit with a shot? You take punches. Everyone, the greatest defensive fighters ever get hit. Pernell Whitaker, Willie Pep, Floyd Mayweather, they all get hit. The question is, can you hit them with combinations? And both guys are hard to hit. With the two-piece, hard to hit.
So who has the best footwork out of the two?
In terms of cutting off the ring, last fight notwithstanding, Canelo has gotten much better at cutting off the ring.
Kellerman contrasted this with Canelo's reliance on natural size, strength, and power to overwhelm smaller opponents. In his view, if Crawford can disrupt Canelo's forward momentum and turn the fight into a thinking match, the tactical battle will heavily favor Crawford. That mix of technical precision and fight IQ, Kellerman argued, is Crawford's biggest asset heading into the fight.
Early in his career, he had a problem with that and was much more comfortable counterpunching. But overall, I have to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power. Canelo also has a great chin. But in terms of, if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton.
Popular commentator Showbiz the Adult gave a balanced take, recognizing both fighters' strengths. He acknowledged Canelo's power, toughness, and ability to absorb punishment, which have kept him dominant at the top level. He also praised Crawford's wrestling background, which sharpened his ability to read opponents, counter effectively, and adapt under pressure.
Canelo uses his legs, he uses his core, and then his neck itself to lift up Bivol like Bivol was a featherweight. That is a huge representation of how strong Canelo is. When you look at his workouts, you can tell why he was able to do that. All these damn neck exercises that I wouldn't dare do. Okay, that stuff looks painful. The squatting and all that stuff that he's doing is exactly why Canelo Alvarez, honestly, is a strong fighter. He tried to do it again with William Skull. William Skull shook out of it, but he is a bull. Listen, Terence.
Across the boxing world, analysts agree that Crawford's strategy will decide the outcome. This fight isn't just another date on the calendar, it's a defining moment that could cement Crawford's legacy among the all-time greats. To win, Crawford must rely on patience, precision, and adaptability, while avoiding reckless exchanges where Canelo's power is most dangerous. Experts argue Crawford's focus should be on controlling distance, using angles to neutralize Canelo's march forward, and wearing him down over time. They believe the fight will come down to mental sharpness as much as physical ability, with victory likely going to the man who stays composed and disciplined for all 12 rounds.
Understands that he has to be smart. And I think with this one specifically, it ain't just about being smart. He knows he has to look like he's never looked before, because again, if he doesn't and he beats Canelo, everybody's just gonna say, well, that's Crawford. You know, so I think he knows that this is the performance of a lifetime and everything has to look right. He knows in order for it to look right, he can't just go out there and let the dog go. The dog is, you know, you got to work his way up to the dog. Hey, show the clip real quick. I don't know if you showed it already, but this is the dog you're talking about right here, right? And so this is, I pulled this clip right here. I seen it on social media this morning.
Don't do that. That's what I'm saying.
And I pulled this clip, right? But this is Terence.
That's who he is.
He's not gonna swing on Canelo. He already know that part of the game. But what I asked you, were you ever trying to send a message to your opponents? He's letting you know, and it's no act. And that's what I really wanted to show, is that's not an act.
No.
That's not, there's 30 security guards.
I don't know, it feels a little contrived.
You think so?
I think a lot of people feel it's a little like.
Well, I'm glad you used a big word that most of us don't know.
Hey, I don't fight as good as you guys. I had to learn some big words, right, to make up for that.
Don't look it up. Just ignore what
you need big words to get out of fights. You know, you need big words to get out of fights. But you know, okay. So case in point, our guy Hafey, sitting right there, producer extraordinaire. He had a picture of Terence Crawford in New York for the Crawford Spence press conference. And there was this look, when Terence he gave this look to Spence that reminded me of like Dwight Muhammad Kawi.
Super middleweight contender Edgar Berlanga weighed in, urging Crawford to stay true to the style that made him successful instead of overcompensating for the size difference. He admitted that moving up 2 divisions is a huge challenge but said it also balances the playing field in other ways. Berlanga stressed that Crawford's ring IQ, skill, and ability to adapt will matter far more than trying to match Canelo physically. He highlighted the importance of discipline, clean execution, and composure under pressure. For Berlanga, Crawford's willingness to take such a dangerous fight already shows the mindset of a true champion, proof that greatness is built by facing the toughest challenges.
First of all, he got to go in there and he just got to fight him. You know what I'm saying? He got to go in there. I think Crawford just got to go in there and do what he got to do. You know what I'm saying? He got to just be Crawford, you know, show his IQ, show him why he's a 2-time undisputed, you know, world champion, and go in there with confidence. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. You know, it's a big weight difference, a big weight jump. You know, that could be a difference in the fight. You know, because obviously, you know, it's like me jumping up to heavyweight. Obviously, I'm a feel the power. I'm a feel that size difference, you know, compared to my other fights. So I just think that he got to go in there and just be himself. And I said, if he loses, you know, we'll just all know that, hey, you know, he just jumped up 2 weight classes to be great. You know what I'm saying? It's not, he can't really, he's testing himself. He's putting himself, testing himself against a great fighter. So, and I don't doubt him, you know, I don't got no doubt in my mind. You know, he's a 2-time undisputed world champion for a reason. So, you know, and I don't think nothing's gonna phase him in that fight. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the power, maybe the size. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Canelo, he's not knocking Canelo out. So, he just got to go in there just IQ.
Would you lean towards Canelo still in that fight?
I got faith in him. I think Crawford could do it. You know what I'm saying? I think he could do it. Just like I said, just the size. The only shit that throws the fight off is the size and, you know, obviously the power. And Canelo's IQ too, because Canelo got IQ. You know what I'm saying? And Canelo fought a lot much bigger guys, you know. So I know the Crawford's power ain't gonna phase him. I know Crawford's size ain't gonna phase him either. You know what I'm saying? So, but for me, I think it's a 50-50 fight.
Legendary trainer and commentator Teddy Atlas kept it simple but powerful. He believes Terence Crawford is special and carries greatness within him. Atlas described Crawford as a rare mix of physical tools, technical mastery, and mental strength, qualities that allow him to deliver on the biggest stages. For him, greatness isn't just talent, but the ability to perform when the stakes are highest. Crawford, he argued, has shown that time and again, and this fight with Canelo is another chance to prove it.
He's a little overrated.
Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez at 168 pounds.
Canelo's really good, really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. Canelo's really good. He's tremendous. But could he be a tiny bit overrated? The greatness is within Crawford. It's in his desire, it's in his mind, it's in his makeup, where he came from. I know he's moving up in the weight class, can he carry it? You know, but...
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more. Until next time.